Today we're gonna read a book, The Mark Inside. This book tells the story of J. Frank Norfleet, a wealthy Texas rancher who was conned out of his fortune by a group of skilled swindlers in the early 20th century. The con man employed various scams such as the big store con, wire game, and prize package swindle to deceive Norfleet and others, leaving them financially devastated. The book delves into the details of these fraudulent schemes and Northfleet's relentless pursuit of the criminals to seek revenge and justice. Yeah, in other words, this book about some scammer who was making scams, who was manipulating people and made a bunch of money from that. So, the Mark Inside explores several key points that can be useful in real life. One of them is awareness of scams. The book highlights various scam technologies employed by con artists, offering insight to into their methods and strategies. By understanding these scams, readers can become more vigilant and better equipped to protect themselves from similar schemes. Yeah, in other words, by reading this book, we can protect ourselves from this kind of manipulation. So the second key point from this book is psychological manipulation. The book delves into the psychological tactics used by con artists to gain the trust of their victims and exploit their vulnerabilities. Recognizing these manipulative techniques can help individuals become more cautious and less susceptible to manipulation in their personal and professional lives. Yeah, like by recognizing this kind of techniques, we can understand that something goes wrong, and we can again can protect ourselves. So next key point from this book is persistence and resilience. J. Frank Norfleet's relentless pursuit of the swindlers demonstrates the importance of persistence and resilience when faced with adversity. His determination to seek justice serves as a powerful lesson in not giving up, even in the face of significant setbacks. Yeah, in other words, 1 minute. Yeah, in other words, if you're facing this kind of scams, it's very important to show resistance, show that you're not giving up, and you're gonna fight for justice. So next key point from this book is the quest for justice. Norfleet's quest for justice showcases the importance of holding criminals accountable for their actions. It highlights the power of determination, resourcefulness, and the legal system in seeking redress and ensuring that perpetrators face the consequences of their deeds. So again, Quest for Justice. Northfleet's quest for justice showcases the importance of holding criminals accountable for their actions. It highlights the power of determination, resourcefulness, and the legal system in seeking redress and ensuring that perpetrators face the consequences of their deeds. So, perpetrators their deeds. So let's ask ChatGPT. Give the simple one sentence definition for each word except there, because I know what does it mean there. Yeah, we not just a reading book, it is also, we improving our vocabulary. If you native speaker, it's a boring for you and you go to another video, but as a learners of English, we want to read the books and understand, words better. So I ask a ChatGPT, what does it mean? Perpetrators face the consequences for their deeds. So I say give the simple one sentence definition for each word except there, and synonyms to that, and give me and tell me that full sentence. No, and explain me that first sentence to me like to a kid. So here we go. Perpetrators, people who commit a crime or wrongdoing. Consequences, the outcomes or result of actions. Deeds, actions, or activities. Sentence explained to a kid. Perpetrators, the people who do something wrong, and consequences, what happens because of those actions. Deeds, the thing that wrongdoers do, like actions or activities. So when someone does something bad, they have to face the result of their actions, which are called consequences. Alright. So, in other words, perpetrators face the consequences of their deeds. It means when criminals doing something bad, they getting the result of their actions. Yeah. So let's write it down to understand this better. So we're gonna take this whole word and share it in order to explain it to others. So yeah, thanks to ChatGPT, it makes learning, much easier, and the quality is perfect. So let's continue our reading. I was reading the summary. So let's go to the next key word, key point from this book. This one is about historical insights. The Mark Insight provides a glimpse into the history of confidence schemes and cons, offering a broad understanding of the evolution of scams and their impact on society. This historical context can be both fascinating and informative. Yeah, I didn't read the whole book. I didn't start it to read, but it seems it's gonna be like it's gonna show the progress of this kind of schemes in history. So overall, the book serves as a cautionary tale and a reminder to remain vigilant, question the intentions of others, and be aware of potential for deception in various aspects of life. It encourages readers to develop healthy skepticism and critical thinking skills to protect themselves from falling victim to scams and manipulations. So let's start reading. So prologue. Let's check out right pronunciation and without guessing. Prologue pronunciation. I think it's French word. Like originally it should be French. Prologue, monologue. So let's check out pronunciation.
Prologue.
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 Prologue. All right. So give me explanation. It is like introduction should be, yeah. Prologue. So definition, yeah. Prologue. So let's ask Cambridge Dictionary the meaning of prologue. Again. Prologue. Okay, a part that comes at the beginning of a play, story, or long poem, often giving information about events that happen before the time when the play, story, or poem begins. Another definition, a series of events that happen before the main event and related to it. So another definition, a part at the beginning of especially a play, story, or long poem that introduces it. Yeah, it is like an introduction, you can say. So let's write it down, highlight this one as well. Prologue. Prologue. So let's continue our journey. So, prologue. The train screeches into Union Station with a whistle and a chuff of steam. A man disembarks, breathes in the dry mountain air, and steps unnoticed into the slipstream of the new city, guarding his anonymity with silence and caution. Before anything else, before even showing his face in a hotel lobby, he must change his appearance. Oh, it seems he gonna like you know wear some another. He gonna play some role, as scammers doing when they was about to cheat others. Like sounds like the beginning of scam. A barber will not be sufficient for what he has in mind. He heads down 17th Street in search of a beautician. Beautician? Oh, I think it's like a worker in saloon, and it seems old-fashioned word. Okay, under the ministrations of a young woman whose curiosity about him must go unsatisfied. The man's gray hair is dyed dark brown, and his shaggy eyebrows and long mustache. The eyebrows are left to form a hood over his glittering blue eyes. Why in all these poems, like a main characters with blue eyes, Why so much attention to these blue eyes? Holy shit. The eyebrows are left to form a hood over his glittering blue eyes, but the mustache is trimmed and curled at the ends in a clumsy attempt at a style. His thick hair is shaped into a supremely unflattering bowl cut, long enough in the back to form a roll of hair over his collar. The man begins to arrange his features to match his new appearance. Later in his hotel room, he opens his valise and selects a straw-colored linen suit. Yeah, I was about actually thinking about suit because you know if you want to get trust of someone, you have to look like a super successful businessman or stuff like that, and you have to wear like a expensive suit. So it is light enough for the August weather, and it has a strap across the back that pulls the fabric into a little gather. He decides this unfashionable feature will aid his disguise, which is rapidly evolving to be that of a Texas cotton grower. He will hunch himself over, he thinks, like a man who has picked cotton his whole life. Huh. He will hunch himself over, he thinks, like a man who has picked cotton his whole life. Sounds like racist stuff. Okay, whatever. The suit's only liability is that its thin fabric cannot conceal a gun holster. He tucks a gun in at his hip and conceals it with his hand, as if his bones ash. A cane in other hand, a small Panama had perched on his new cut, and his disguise is complete. He spent some time before his bathroom mirror practicing his new slow gait. It seems he was like, like an actor who was preparing for his role. He pitches his voice up and octave and draws it out in a country twang. His features have settled into pleasant open countenance, and all the while he runs through his story in his mind. He knows that his costume is important, but his story is crucial. Yeah, it seems like he didn't just was preparing. his outfit, he also was preparing his legend, in order to, I don't know, make some perfect lie with details. So everything will depend on how convincingly he plays his role. He mentally rehearses a sequence of scenes, tries out a few improvisations. The man is confident the story will work. The man is confident the story will work. Yeah, you know, even if you will say, something, some bullshit, but if you will say it in a confident way, that's gonna work. Especially if you're wearing some expensive suit and like some another luxury stuff. People use it to believe to this kind of people. The man is confident the story will work. He has told countless versions of it, and he knows it well. And he knows the Mark's responses almost better than his own lines. The Mark has no idea how long the man has been studying his movements, actions, and habits. Only one task remains. The man sits down at his hotel desk and begins to write. In in short order, he produces a small sheaf of letters, some of them in his own large, looping handwriting, and others in a small, feminine style. One letter in a particular requires his utmost attention. A letter to himself from his wife back home in, he thinks for a moment, Ferris, Texas. He keeps it short and legible at a glance. Several phrases seem to leap off the page. The 100-acre oil lease, and drillers have to struck oil. Smiling to himself, he ends the letter with a truly heartbreaking expression of love and devotion, then proceeds to fold, crease, and stain his little collection of letters until they look as if they've been read and reread. He places them in a pocket, picks up his hat and cane, and sets forth on the downtown streets. It is time to announce his presence in the city. He slowly makes his way up and down 17th Street, his back bent, surveying the passers-by from underneath his hat and his eyebrows. It doesn't take long to spot his mark. He knew it wouldn't, and a small electric charge runs down his back. What? A small electric charge runs down his back? What the fuck? There's some dildo or what? So they're in front of the post office, and together with invisible choreography, the man and his mark enter the lobby. With deliberateness, the man hobbles to the general delivery window and asks loudly, "Any mail for L.A. Monaghan?" Somehow, I don't know, I decided that it will sound with a British accent, but he was, if I'm not wrong, was copying American Southern accent. Yeah, okay, it's gonna be like "Any mail for L.A. Monaghan?" Yeah, like this. So, and the con has begun. Oh, here we go. Chapter 1, Confidence. J. Frank Norfleet was feeling confident as he strode into the St. George Hotel in Dallas. He had just arrived from Dublin, Texas, where he'd sold a carload of mules at an admirable profit. He was prosperous 54-year-old rancher from the Texas Panhandle, a third-generation pioneer who had worked his whole life to turn the prairie, now swept clean of Indians and buffalo, into profitable ground for agriculture and livestock. Since he was a teenager, he had herded sheep and hogs, driven cattle across the open range, and fenced thousands of acres of pasture land. He had made foreman on the Spade Ranch in Hale County at a young age and saved his modest wages until when he was 49. He was finally able to afford his own land. He purchased about 8,000 acres near the Spade Ranch and continued to raise livestock in small numbers, investing the profits in adjacent land until his ranch had grown to 20,000 acres. On this November day in 1919, he was in Dallas for his biggest deal yet. He planned to sell 2,050 acres of improved land and use the proceeds to buy a choice 10,000-acre parcel from the nearby ranch of Captain Dick Slaughter, the heir of a renowned cattle baron. Yeah, it seems we're reading about some rich ass, and our main character, I think he's about to scam him. So Norfleet was straight as they come. He had banned gambling. He had banned gambling from the Spade Ranch. I don't drink, chew tobacco, smoke, cuss, or tell lies, he would say, his light blue eyes glinting. Oh my god, why so much pay fucking attention to these eyes? Okay, the last is the most important. I never tell a damn lie. His fierce work ethic and his ability to turn manual labor into a small fortune rightly gave him confidence, hard earned, time tested confidence in his own discernment, which in turn allowed him to bestow his trust on others. So he prized honesty and square dealing above all else. His word was his bond, and he planned to seal the slaughter deal with a handshake because a man wore his integrity as visible as he wore his mustache. What? Because a man was because a man wore his integrity as visibly as he wore his mustache. Interesting. I was about to check. His word was his bone. It is like idiom, I guess. Yeah, like the person who keep his words. His word was his bond. Is it idiom? Yeah, his word is bond. is an idiom. It is phrased to describe someone who is extremely trustworthy and reliable, indicating that when they make a promise or give their word, they will always follow through and keep their commitment. The idiom suggests that the person's words carries a strong sense of integrity and can be relied upon without any doubt. Let's ask how formally sounds this idiom. Give me a simple vocabulary definition and example sentence. So the idiom his word was his bond has a formal tone. Okay. Simple vocabulary definition. It means that someone is extremely trustworthy, always keep their promises. Example sentence: John was known for his unwavering honesty and integrity. When he said he would do something, his word was his bond. Or bound. With my broken English, I guess it sounds wrong. Vocabulary idiom. His word. He's. Oh, fucking shit. Alright, make it like this. His word was his bond. Okay, let's put some, I don't know. I want to highlight this and put some emoji. Yeah, like thumbs up. I guess it's gonna be good. And a simple definition with a speech bubble, of course, yeah. Holy shit, I just posted it like my own. Okay. Oh my god. Fucking shit. Okay. Let's continue reading. So, it seems he was not just rich, he was, the person with bound in his words. So, but to anyone watching, J. Frank Norfleet looked exactly like a sucker. Oh, interesting. At 5 feet 5 in his cowboy boots, he towered about exactly no one, and with his legs bowed from years in the saddle and his suit pants shoved into his boots, he was conspicuous as someone out of his league in the big city. And there were, in fact, two people watching him make his entrance, two members of the cast who were already at their stations in costume and with their lines at the ready. Reno Hamlin sat in the hotel lobby while one of his colleagues, Howard, just outside the building, peering inside for Hamlin's signal. Oh, it seemed like, it wasn't just one scammer, it was a crew. Bunch of scammers who prepared their plan and was waiting the signal. So Hamlin had a dress to match Norfleet, and with his square head, thick neck, and stocky build, he made a convincing Texas countryman. Hamlin could see from yards away the palpable relief in the cowboy's eyes when he spotted one of his own kind among the urbanites and the two men soon fell to talking. Hamlin introduced himself as a miller, a mill buyer from Hill County, Texas. He had also just arrived in Dallas, but his mind was on where he had come from. I saw the best carload of mules unloaded at Dublin the other day I ever saw in this country, he told Norfleet. I want to buy a carload just like them. Norfleet's eyes lit up. Sure enough, Hamlin had unknowingly been admiring Norfleet's mules, and within minutes they had given each other their word that Hamlin would buy a shipment of them, as well as two freight cars of Kaffir corn and maize. After the initial onrush of good feeling, Norfleet explained to his new friend that he couldn't deliver his goods right away because he was stuck in the city searching for a buyer for his farm and waiting for Captain Slaughter to return to Dallas so they could close the land and deal. Norfleet, I may help you out, said Hamlin. He had a friend who was purchasing agent with the Green Immigration Land Company in Minneapolis, a businessman scouting land in Texas. Perhaps he might be interested in Norfleet's land. Hamlin gave the sacred signal to his confederate out on the sidewalk. Into the hotel lobby strode W.B. Spencer, and amid exclamations of surprise over the coincidence, Hamlin introduced him to Norfleet as Charles Harris. Spencer's costume contrasted starkly with Hamlin's. He was a young man with finely etched features. His curly hair swept back of his brow as if he were facing the wind of the future. He wore a crisp suit, the embodiment of the successful businessman. Yeah, as I said before, it should be some businessman or something like this. Hamlin began excitedly talking up Norfleet's farm, its smooth, level land, and the particulars of its cultivation, the schoolhouse and church on its grounds. Spencer smiled non-committally at Hamlin's overreached monologue. He patiently explained that he was currently negotiating land in Williamson County and wasn't free to embark on a new deal. He wouldn't want Norfleet to get his hopes up. But when the three men met the next day, Spencer was far more effusive. He told Norfleet that the owners of the Williams County land had decided not to sell because of the recent oil boom, and though he had never purchased land as far west as Hale County, he was now rather desperate and therefore willing to consider Norfleet property. He took down the description from Norfleet and telegrammed it to his superiors. In the meantime, he invited Norfleet to check out of the St. George and share his double room at the Jefferson Hotel. So he tumbled over himself with eagerness in his invitation, explaining that he wanted to show Norfleet his credentials, which were credential. Okay, let's check out what is it. Credential. Give me a simple vocabulary definition and example sentence. Alright. So, a credential refers to a qualification, achievements, or evidence of one's skills, knowledge, or authority in particular fields. Okay, for example, she earned a medical degree which served as her credential to practice. Okay, what's the synonym? Synonyms. Synonyms for credential include qualification, diploma, certificate. Alright, let's get it. Let's take it down. Credential. Credential. And we will put some, I don't know, diploma, like certificate, something. No, there is no fucking certificate. Alright. So, again, credential. Credential refers to a qualification, achievement, or evidence. Okay. We're gonna put speech bubble, and synonyms for credential is qualification, certification, diploma, certificate, proof, you know. Okay. So, in other words, he tumbled over himself with eagerness in his invitation, explaining that he wanted to show Norfleet his credentials, which were back at the room. In other words, he was about to show like some proof, like certificate, I guess. And anyway, he could say Norfleet a bundle in hotel bills. Norfleet accepted, charmed by the man's youthful friendliness. Spencer's boss, Garrett Thompson, soon telegraphed to say he was passing through Dallas and would love the opportunity to meet Norfleet. Would Norfleet agree to meet him at the Adelphus Hotel the next day? Courted by three successful businessmen, wined and dined at the city's best hotels. His down payment on the slaughter land growing plumper by the hour. Norfleet must have felt as if something great were just beginning. In fact, something great was already well underway. Just 24 hours had elapsed, and already he was deep into the big cold. When Norfleet stepped into the St. George Hotel, he entered a tightly scripted drama with 9 acts, each with its own distinct function in conveying the mark toward the climax when his money will be whisked away. Even the mark has his lines, and just because he doesn't know them doesn't mean that he won't say them at exactly the right moment. He will, because the dialogue is designed so that his responses are the most predictable things he would say in such a situation. The play hinges on three psychological moments when the mark, when the mark, when the mark. So when the mark has lined up, and just because he doesn't know them, doesn't mean he won't say them at exactly the right moment. He will, because the dialogue is designed so that his responses are the most predictable things he would say in such situation. The play hinges on three psychological moments when the mark must make a decision that will propel him further inside. Any objections he might muster have already been taken into account, and rejoinders to them devised. Norfleet's role called it for him to play himself, a part at which he excelled, but in a context designed so that his own earnest words would betray him. Confidence men took inordinate pride in the structured nature of their profession, instead of the violence and mayhem of other kinds of theft. They relied solely on a perfectly constructed piece of theater. Con artistry may seem at times like the art of controlling a mark's mind, but Norfleet made the decisions he did only because his swindlers so completely engineered his interpretation of events. He perceived his initial encounters with the two men as organic happenstances. In fact, the swindlers had framed his experiences so that even the backdrop of urban life, the hotel lobbies, the streets, the office buildings, became props of their drama. Yeah, in other words, like this crew was preparing each detail in order to make things perfect. The big con works because it makes use of time honored techniques from stage magic. The one ahead, in which the trick begins before the performer formally introduces it to the audience. It is the most elaborate form of misdirection, because it lets the mark to misperceive the nature of the entire situation. Yeah, it was like a play in theater, I guess. In the face of the one ahead, Norfleet's defensivelessness was absolute. Who, in his boots, would possibly guess that such an elaborate performance has been devised just for him? Yeah, it was like played like in movie with a bunch of people and these kind of details. Yeah, in other words, it wasn't just one person who doing that. It was a big work to cheat just one person. So, the first of the 9 acts began before Norfleet even walked into the St. George, when Arena Hamlin had put the mark up for fleecing. Hamlin had trolled the lines at the train station and the hotels, eavesdropping on conversations and peering over counters at registers and receipts until he had identified someone promising. Norfleet was no redneck blusterer, no wide-eyed naive, no freewheeling gambler, no shyster on the make. What does it mean, shyster? Sounds like a German word. Shyster. One sentence, simple definition. Synonyms. Example sentence. So, shyster is a person, typically a lawyer, who uses unethical or dishonest practices to deceive or exploit others, often to personal gain. Synonyms for shyster include charlatan, fraud, swindler, con artist, trickster, deceive, impostor. So, for example, the dishonest lawyer was exposed as a shyster when the evidence of his fraudulent billing practices came to light. So let's ask, is it originally German word? Yes, the word shyster is believed to have originated from the German word Scheißer, which means worthless person, one who defecates. It entered English use in the late 19th century and has since been used to describe someone engaging in deceitful or unethical behavior, particularly in legal profession. Interesting. I guess it from first time that it's a German word. Interesting. Shyster. Okay, let's make another note about shyster. So, and we're also gonna note that it's actually German word. Let's make some German flag, right. So let's continue read about shyster, but actually I like it. This, the beginning at least of this book. It sounds very interesting with all these details. So the first of the 9 acts began before Norfleet even walked into the St. George when Reno Hamlet had put the mark up for fleecing. Hamlet had trawled the lines at the train station and the hotels, eavesdropping on conversations and peering over counters at registers and receipts until he had identified someone promising. Norfleet was no redneck blusterer, no wide-eyed naive, no freewheeling gambler, no shyster on the make. So now we know what does it mean, shyster. It's a kind of lawyer who using dishonest things to get to win his how they say, to win, to win in court, yeah. So Hmm. But honest and dishonest, I think it's not like if it's not against the law, it's still like illegal, I think. Yeah, it could be not moral ethical, but it could be legal. Okay, anyway, what about him interested Hamlin? Hamlin had sifted the crowd with a particular set of criteria. His next mark would have to be first and foremost an out of towners, so that he wouldn't be able to turn it to his local banker for advice during the swindle or encounter the conman after his money vanished. He would be from a second or third year American city traveling alone in a large city for business purposes. It goes without saying that his mark would be male, for women rarely had the fortune, autonomy, and wherewithal to make investment decisions with decisiveness that the con required. He would be prosperous, substantial citizen in his community. More than that, he would be a self-made man, accustomed to both hard work and seizing the main chance. He must be able to raise $20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and even 50,000 in a day or two, but he must not have so much money that he would refer a deal to his bankers and accountants. He wouldn't be overly familiar with the financial industry, Norfleet with that role in almost every particular. The second act was to play the con for him, gain his confidence, and bait him with the thought of lucrative business deals. Hamlin and Spencer, this the steerers, calibrated their offers to seem eminently plausible, not wanting to arouse Norfleet's suspicion. By the second day, they had succeeded in imaginably increasing his wealth. At first glance, their two-step approach, the first Hamlin's Mills and then Spencer's Land, might seem unnecessarily elaborate. Why not hook Norfleet simply by providing him with what he sold in Dallas, a buyer for his land? Norfleet and Hamlin would never again discuss that carload of mules. In fact, Hamlin excited the stage of Norfleet's drama. After the second day, his work complete, he had effectively recast frame of meaning around Norfleet's activity in Dallas, and the nested business deals had drawn Norfleet deep into the heart of the con. Yeah, it was chapter one, and it seems interesting book actually. I think we're gonna continue this one. Yeah, thank you for listening, and in comments below you can say your opinion about this book or about my shitty English. Yeah, see you next.